Hello, everyone. Today we are going to take a look at something a little different here. Now, this started back with something that Tater Tots just asked. It was some game that was streaming. I don't even know who was playing in it anymore, but he just asked on there if anyone could name cards that featured characters that weren't playable characters in Unmatched. And we're talking like specific named characters, not like guy that Sherlock is punching, but like named, like an actual named character that isn't a playable character in Unmatched. So, and I've thought about that, and that was years back when he did that, but it's always kind of rattled around my brain to try to go through and find all of those. So here are the three different things we're going to look for. First of all, cards that depict a character, a named character that is not a playable character in Unmatched. Secondly, this is also going to include artwork that features other characters in Unmatched that aren't in that deck. So that would be some other playable character that does have a playable deck, but they're depicted in somebody else's deck. And then also just straight up references, even if it's not depicting them, just a reference and a name of them. And to do this here, I didn't feel like pulling all the cards out, so we're going to use the Unmatched Club to go through this because they've got, all of the decks here. Okay, we're going to start with King Arthur because Arthur has a couple of them here. First of all, the Aid of Morgana, that definitely does feature Morgana on it very clearly. Lady of the Lake, which does feature the Lady of the Lake on it right there. Now, next, Alice does also feature a couple in here. That's going to give us Mad as a Hatter, which features the Mad Hatter. And I'm late, which kind of we're seeing Alice's hand there, but this was really a quote that was associated with the White Rabbit. So we'll go ahead and count that. Going into Sinbad, we do have a reference in here. Voyage to the City of the King of Serendib, because that is an actual character there, although he was not depicted. As far as I can tell, the cannibals here and the man-eating ape here are not named characters, as far as I can tell. Going into Beowulf, we have one here in Beowulf, which is going to be right here, equal of Grendel. That is Grendel's arm. Not all of Grendel, but the arm. Now, Little Red, this is a really interesting one because Little Red, in the lore here of Unmatched, killed the wolf and is wearing the wolf's pelt. So the wolf is like on her mini, it's on her card back, it is on a bunch of her artwork because she's like wearing the wolf's skin. I mean, she's wearing the wolf's pelt, and the wolf was a character in this story. Okay, now Willow. This is going into a few spoilers here for Buffy later in the series run, but the card here, Flayed Alive. Okay, now this doesn't look specifically like anyone there really recognizable, but there is only one character that Willow does this to on the show. That is Warren. So I think we can be reasonably sure that this is supposed to be Warren. So there he is. Another weird aside on Willow's deck here. Nothing to do with what I'm talking about here, but just a strange thing that a few of us noticed some time back. In the card art, there is no real clear depiction of Tara. The closest you get is right here in Love and Loss. And yes, that is supposed to be Tara there because that's a specific scene. But you don't actually see her. The only real clear depiction of her is going to be the art from her token, which is interesting. I don't think there's any other sidekick that is like not depicted clearly in the card art. Going into Achilles, we have one, well, kind of here. It's a bust and a statue, but we do have Hermes depicted here. I'm blessed by Hermes. Okay, Black Widow. Now this one, okay, we'll let y'all decide if this counts. I think it does. This right here, life model decoy. And you're going to tell me, well, that's Maria Hill right there. No, it's not Maria Hill. That is a life model decoy that looks like Maria Hill. And an LMD is like a named thing on in the Marvel Universe. I don't know. You gotta decide if that counts or not. I think it does, but it's a little. Going into Black Panther, this is another kind of here ancestral insight. These panthers that we're seeing here, these are previous Black Panthers. I mean, when he goes to the ancestral plane, it's the other panthers that he sees there. So we have to assume that one of these is his father T'Chaka. So I think that counts. Okay, but a definite one here on Winter Soldier, one of the most clearly depicted characters here, right here on manipulation. 100% that is Red Skull in the background. All right, Tomoe goes in. We don't see someone featured, but we do get a name drop on a card, and that is going to be right here, Lord Kiso's Final Stand. Now, Muldoon gets one here on both of these cards. This is clearly depicting the Raptors right there. I mean, you can see that raptor eye there, and the bones of some dinosaurs that we're assuming is supposed to be the Raptors. And Deadpool. Oh man, Deadpool. We got so much going on here with Deadpool. Okay. Right here on this card, Merc for Hire, we have playtesting with Blind Owl and 3D printing from Weasel. That's two references right there. We see Cable depicted right here on Clunkin' Heads. This card features Scott Summers, who is, of course, Cyclops. We see Medusa depicted here. Now this is Marvel Medusa and not the public domain Unmatched Medusa, but yeah, I guess it counts. Sure, we're counting it. Right here, property of Gambit. There's another reference. Right here on this one, American Express, basically referencing the X-Men. Who would this be right here? A bald guy with like wavy things coming out of his brain. Clearly Charles Xavier. You can see a little bit of Robin Hood left over there behind him there. Another reference to Scott Summers. Of course, here we can see Dracula in the background there, this being Invisible Man's card. We don't really see him, but that's his shoes. Passwords, I Heart Logan. We also have on Deadpool's character card references Logan, so he is right there. All right, here this was originally Sherlock and Watson, but that got kind of turned into that. So quite a bit going on there with Deadpool. Hey, Hamlet. Well, the first one we're going to talk about here, this is kind of a character. It is a named character, but not a character that we ever saw in the play because they were dead, and that was Yorick. This is Yorick's skull that he's talking to. This was a particular scene in there. Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him well. So that's Yorick's skull. This is kind of supposed to be Hamlet's skull, but kind of Yorick there. And yeah, even in one of those. The other one we have here with Hamlet is this one right here. The play's The Thing. In the play, there was a play inside the play, and there were actors that were playing out a play. And this one here, I'm not sure which character in the play that's supposed to be, but I think that is probably the king. So that would be Player King, which is what the character was called in the actual script there. So Player King. And down here we have the Ghost, which is character from the play, the Ghost, which ends up being Hamlet's dad. We'll go into Shakespeare, and This is another one that there's a little bit of argument on it, and I'll explain what the argument is. This one right here, Such Sweet Sorrow. Clearly, that is Juliet. I mean, this is depicting Juliet in her balcony. It could be argued that this isn't Juliet, but that this is one of Shakespeare's actors, who are, of course, his sidekicks. And she does look a lot like that female actor token. So that might just be, you might could say that that's just one of Shakespeare's actors. If not, it's Juliet. We also have, like, with Etu Brute and Ides of March, which are going to be some of the conspirators there. Probably, this one probably meant to be Brutus. Once again, could be argued that it's one of the actors and not actually Brutus. I will let you guys decide on that one. Titania actually has a couple here. One of them, kind of have to know the play to get this here, is Wise is Beautiful. You're just like, that's a donkey. Well, in the play, there's a character named Bottom who basically Puck puts like a love spell on Titania and makes her fall in love with Bottom, and then he later turns Bottom's head into a donkey head, so she's in love with this donkey. Basically, it was basically just kind of mock her and put her in her place there. But that is clearly Bottom, if you know this story. But a dream, the only characters that really have swords in are going to be like some actors from the play. Yes, there's a play inside a play. Shakespeare liked doing this, okay? Aside from them, the only other character that like has a sword or reference is going to be Theseus. So maybe that is supposed to be him, because like Oberon really isn't depicted with a sword. I mean, they're like, Tanya and Oberon are fairy people. They don't need swords. That's clearly a person. So probably Theseus. T-Rex. This is a very interesting one in here, because it's a common card, and it's not really clear who they are. Probably for licensing reasons, they didn't want to try to like really depict this as them too clearly. But if you've seen the movie, you know what scene this is. This is Tim and Lex. Dr. Sattler, well, we've got sexism and survival situations, which clearly has the T-Rex in it. So that's not from this deck, from the same set, but not from that deck. Okay, Ms. Marvel, and we are going to have the most other characters in a single card. And it's also a one-off card, so it's kind of crazy. That's going to be friends and family. Okay, we're going to have, all of these are specific characters. This is Yusuf, her father, Maniba, her mother, her brother Amir, her sister-in-law Ayesha, and her friend Bruno. So that's 5 other characters on there, which actually puts up there depending on how you're counting with Deadpool. If you're counting those cards that he stole, but this actually, Deadpool only has like 4 characters not from Unmatched, and they're in his deck. She has 5 in this one card, so she wins just off of this. Yennefer and Triss. Okay, so got some here, and I'm gonna say my Witcher lore is very weak here, guys. Okay, so I'm assuming Lodge of Sorceresses, an advisor to the king. I'm gonna assume that there are some named characters in here that we don't have in the game that are from The Witcher that are on these cards. I'm assuming this is some particular king, and that some of these other sorceresses are other named characters. Y'all can let me know if y'all's Witcher senses are better than mine, but that's all I got for that. Pandora. Okay, Pandora gets a few in here. These are going to be statues again, but with Achilles we counted statues, so we're going to count statues here. Hera's Curiosity, that is Hera. Aphrodite's Beauty, that is Aphrodite. Zeus's Mischief, that is Zeus. Loki gets a little crazy here. Loki is crazy. First, we have Baldur's downfall. This is Baldur. If you look at the story, that's definitely him. We have Freya's rescue, which does not feature Freya. It references Freya, so that's a reference. But this guy here, this is a frost giant called Thrym who stole Mjolnir, which is what he's carrying there. God of Mischief. This, of course, is Thor. An underhanded, who is this here? I don't think this is Thor because this looks different than Thor's statue. I think this may be Odin. Of course, we also get Sindri and Svadilfari, who are both referenced here, but neither of these being depicted in it. Okay, so now we're going to get into the turtles, and the turtles have a lot of cards that have the other turtles on it. Now, I'm not even talking about the alternate art. I'm not going to bring any of those out. This is just the standard art here. Fearless Leader. We have the other three turtles depicted there. Michelangelo has one card in here. Michelangelo is a party dude, which features all four turtles right here at the bottom. Okay, in Shredder, we have one card here, which is Disrupting Strike, with him catching that there. With that being purple there, that would be Donatello. Now, I don't think they were like doing that to specifically make it Donatello. I think they just wanted purple in there because that's part of color scheme there. But it does make it Donatello. Krang, we do have one here. Powerbomb, that would be Raphael with the red there, unless we're going with the old... unless we're going with the original depiction of them where they all had the red bandanas there. Probably not. This is probably Raph getting power bombed there. Okay, and lastly, we're going to go into Stars and Stripes and Wyatt Earp. Okay, and this one is not like a super like obvious one. I think this is it, and you can figure out why as you look at it here. That's going to be on this card here. I'm your Huckleberry. Okay, so we got cowboy standing here, and we got feet standing there. Okay, so who is who? Okay, well, this guy has a coat. He has a long coat. Wyatt is not depicted with a coat, so this is not Wyatt. Okay, Doc is depicted with a bowler hat. This is clearly like a Western cowboy hat, not a bowler hat. So this is neither Doc nor Wyatt, which means that these feet that we're looking at here, this is going to be either Doc or Wyatt there. So who is this? Okay, well, this deck is very influenced by the film Tombstone. Okay, there's a lot of stuff in here reference that are like right out of the movie. You know, so many quotes here that come right out of it. Okay, so who says I'm your Huckleberry? Well, Doc says it 2 different points in there. Both times that he says it. Who is he saying it to? Johnny Ringo. This is Johnny Ringo. Okay, that's my opinion on it. Okay, this is another non-playable character there that is depicted in Unmatched art. All right, guys, so once you go through all these decks, is there somebody I missed? It's very likely there is, because there's some really sneaky little ones in there. Someone I may have missed. So if I did miss someone, go down into the comment section and let me know who it was. I need you to tell me what deck they're in, what card it is, and who they are. If you found the video useful, give it a thumbs up and a like. Of course, you can go down to the comment section, tell me anyone that I missed or anything else you want to say about it. And you can also subscribe to my channel. Make sure you catch all the videos that I post so you don't miss anything. This is Jeremy with Point Extra G, and we'll see you around next time.